ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स पदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातां सागना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखामृतांश नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतसे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपिका गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्ते तत्व कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विस्मानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नीलचरण निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने कुलवध सुभद्राभ्याम जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्ण। So where were we? What was the Dharko?
3418 Prabhuji. Hopefully I'm correct today.
Okay.
I mean, we have done 18 Prabhuji, so we'll start with 19.
Yes, you are almost right. It's 19th. We have to start from 19th. So now, after hearing from the Lord, Uddhava starts to go to Bhadrakasram. So we'll begin now. Somebody could read 19th translation purport.
Okay, I read. When I was thus expressed my heartfelt desire unto the Supreme Personality of a Godhead, the lotus-eyed Lord instructed me about his transcendental situation. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The word Pramaha Stitatam are significant in this verse. The Lord's transcendental situation was not even spoken of to Brahma when the four versa of Srimad Bhagavatam were explained. The transcendental situation comprises his dealing with the devotees engaged in transcendental loving service as exhibited as Dwaraka and Vrindavan. When the Lord explained his specific transcendental situation, it was meant for Uddhava only, and therefore Uddhava particularly said, Mayam, unto me. Although the great sage Maitreya was also sitting there, such a transcendental situation is hardly understood by those who, whose devotional is mixed with the speculative knowledge or fruitive activities. The Lord's activity is confidential love are very rarely disclosed to the general devotees who are attracted by the devotional mixed with the knowledge and mysticism. Such activity are inconceivable pastime of the Lord.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, as explained in this verse, the transcendental situation of the Lord was not even explained to Brahma. Because if we see the four verses which we had discussed before of Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, so they are more with Lord's activities in material world. So Lord said that I was there before the creation, between the creation, after the creation. I'm inside everything, outside everything. So these are more related to the Paramatma pastimes of the Lord. Paramatma pastimes means pastimes of the Lord in dealing with this material nature. But when it comes to Lord's dealing with the devotees, these things are not explained even to Brahma. But then Uddhava says these are explained to me by the Lord. So that's why Lord's pastimes in Dwaraka, Vrindavan, Mathura, all these holy places. So these pastimes are very confidential and they are explained to devotees only. So those who are not devotees can't understand that. Now some question may arise like, okay, I'll ask this question to you. But we find that practically every Indian knows the pastimes of Lord Ram, Lord Krishna. There are TV serials. So how can we say that these pastimes are confidential? Yes, you would like to answer?
Prabhuji, I don't know the answer, but I can just try. So,
Yeah,
to me, confidential means that a mundane person may understand in a different manner, and a devotee will understand in a different manner. For example, if Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita in the battlefield, the mundaner will think that the God inside Krishna is speaking, not Krishna himself. Something like this. As devotee thinks this spoken by Krishna. So that is why, I mean, this is what I understand by confidential, that those people will not understand the real understanding or real meaning behind those pastimes.
Good answer. Yes. So people may not know the reality which is called tattva. Shobhamai Mataji would like to contribute.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Yes. So many people, they don't know that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they didn't understand Krishna as Krishna means how he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They just think him as a one of the avatars of Vishnu, Ram, and Krishna. All are avatars of. But Krishna's to Bhagavan Swami, they don't know Krishna is avatari but not avatara. And some people also think that Rama and Krishna, they are also demigods. They are also one of the demigods like that. So and our TV serials also, they show like that only. Prabhuji, it's not their understanding is not correct. What only devotees can understand through the bona fide this one, the sampradaya. And then only we can get to know the real this one, Prabhuji. Even if they know Ramayana and Mahabharata, many people might have read and they might have watched on TV serials, but understanding is not correct. Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. They don't know that he is a Supreme Lord. Some people even think that they are demigods. It's a good point. Yes, Ras will ask you.
Prabhuji, when you asked that question, one analogy that came to my mind was Prabhupada uses that with respect to the armchair philosophers. He says, you know, what armchair philosophers do, that is just like licking a bottle of honey from the outside. They haven't really tasted the honey by opening the bottle. So also, my understanding is that people who just hear the pastimes, they have the bottle of honey, but they are just licking it from outside. They have no real understanding of how the honey actually tastes. But having said that, it does give a very good culture of a very culture to the people who are from India, but they don't really have idea about the deeper mysteries, that the more confidential things. And the other aspect of confidential thing that I think is unless you actually hear from a pure devotee, it stays on the mental platform. It doesn't really go to the heart, and the real mystery of everything lies in the heart and not in the head. That's something that came to our mind.
Thank you. So one is that realization is not there. Yes, Jai Kosakru and then Sadhu Garam.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhupada. So actually, Prabhuji, yes, so whatever the Samabhavi Mataji said, so yes, I just adding there. Like Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, na, jo avajananti mamuda manusim tani masitam. So actually the people do not understand the greatness of the Lord, and he is the Lord, they don't understand. So they just think that he is just like a common man. So like that they deride the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's why I think in the Shastra it is there, no? So for them to understand the pastimes of the Lord in Dwarka, Vrindavan, it's not possible. So for them, they should understand first of all the greatness of the Lord, the greatness where in the explained in Bhagavad Gita 7 chapter, 9 chapter, 10 chapter, like that. First, they should understand their things before going to any pastimes.
They don't know how great God is. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Sadhu Gaurang.
Yeah, Prabhu. Definitely in India, everybody know the pastime of Krishna and Nam. Even the people know the Krishna is this ultimate, is the supreme Lord. Again, they don't understand Tattvataha. They don't understand Krishna from Tattvataha. And that Tattvata can be only be understand through Tattvadi Panipatena. So they don't take shelter of Parampara, and that is the reason it is they would not able to understand Krishna as a Tattvata.
They don't know the tattva. That's
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have a question. I'm not adding to this. This is very interesting when you were saying Lord Brahma versus Uddhava. So Lord Brahma had association of Lord Krishna. He got the Chatushloki Bhagavatam. Now, another interesting thing is Nitya Siddha is asking him a question, that's Narada Muni, who's already a devotee. And he is the reason also Narada Muni that we have Srimad Bhagavatam. So very confusing right now. So Narada Muni knows Lord Krishna, right? And Brahma, Lord Brahma being, he is a bhakta, right? So how is it that he is categorized and not at Uddhava's level? Because he did go through Brahma Vimohana Leela also, right? He knows now, he did Brahma Samhita. So shouldn't he be categorized as an elevated Vaishnava also?
Seems like Prabhuji is disconnected. I don't see him there.
Maybe his thing is frozen again. I hope he heard my question. Otherwise, I have to repeat.
He is there. He's there.
Actually, there's some problem with the internet now. Now things are like I turned to another network. So
Sorry, Prabhu,
I
do you
understood
want me to repeat the question?
I understood your question. So in one terms, your question was that our Brahma is also devotee. Why is it said that no Uddhava understood and Brahma didn't understand? Right?
As in he's a Mahajana, right? Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu.
Yes, yes. So actually there is a hierarchy. Hierarchy in the sense that now if I start talking about Kirtida Mataji maybe 20 years back, so then we may say, oh, this lady, no, she didn't used to chant a single round. If I'm sure. So since how long you are a devotee?
Prabhuji, since childhood.
Oh my God. Then then my analogy is wrong.
Prabhuji, you can take my example.
I'm gonna finish half a century.
My God.
Prabhuji, you can give my example. Prabhuji.
No, we have to talk about her past life maybe. But maybe she is devotee from past life, then this analogy will also be wrong.
No. If you're saying chanting, serious chanting since my initiation, 2008. Okay.
Okay. So maybe we can talk about time before when you were not chanting 16 rounds. So then we can say, oh, she was not chanting 16 rounds even at that time. But that doesn't mean that now you're not chanting. So similarly, for when it comes to Lord Brahma, so Lord Brahma in this day of when Krishna appeared, this day of Brahma, then he went through this Brahma Viman Leela, and then he find that he is acting like a pure devotee now. But that doesn't mean that these things were there from very birth of Brahma. So this thing which we are talking about is something before he had Chaturshloki Bhagavat. So it's not exactly at the same time. Now our Brahma is like Haridas. Yeah, now Haridas Thakur is incarnation of Brahma, and he's our Namachara. We are follower of Namachara Haridas Thakur. So now we can't say like. So it's a time duration. There's a famous saying in the Chinese that every saint had a past and every criminal has a future. So when we talk about person, we have to talk about the whole timeline.
So, Prabhuji, when Chatursalaki, when the Lord spoke to Brahma Chatursalaki Bhagavatam, so that time Brahmaji realization was not full. I mean, the full.
Yes, yes, yes. So he saw Narayan face to face also, but his realization was not to the extent which is there now. Like it is Vishwanath Chaudhary Thakur Samacharya who comments by saying, Haribol, am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji, now audible.
Now audible, not audible. Okay. I don't know. This is some bad grahas run at that time. I gave class in the morning and things were very fine. Somehow.
Okay, no problem.
So, yes. So I was saying that one of the acharyas commented when Brahmaji ran behind his daughter, this walk episode happened. So that time he didn't hear Chaturshloki Bhagavatam. He heard Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, and then there was no incident like that. So it's like slowly realization was growing, and now he's like our Brahma is Haridas Thakur. He's an example for all of us. So things have changed over a time, and seeing that we also have a hope. We also have a hope that although we may not be very elevated, but one day will come and we will become elevated. We may not feel elevated at that time, because more person becomes elevated, more he becomes humble. But we have a hope. Okay, so now we can move to the next verses. Somebody can read 20, 21, and 22.
I have studied the path of understanding self-knowledge from my spiritual master, the personality of Godhead, and thus, after circumambulating him, I have come to this place very much aggrieved due to separation. 21. My dear Vidur, now I am mad for want of the pleasure of seeing him, and just to mitigate this, I am now proceeding to Badrikashram in the Himalayas for association, as I have been instructed by him. 22. There in Badrikashram, the personality of Godhead, in his incarnation as the sages Nar and Narayan, have been undergoing great penance since time immemorial for the welfare of all amiable living entities.
Thank you. So, and then he heard Uddhav Gita. After hearing Uddhav Gita, he circumambulated the Lord. And then now he wants to like go to Badrikashram as instructed by the Lord. So Prabhupada writes, no, I was never separate from my spiritual master, because serving the spiritual master and serving his instructions is sequel, especially for people who are extremely elevated, like Uddhava, Prabhupada. So then for him, mission of fulfilling this mission of Supreme Lord is as good as being in vicinity of Supreme Lord. So in this way, then now it's like he prepares to go to Badrikashram. Please read 23 to 27. Vidura's source spiritual knowledge from Uddhava.
Sri Sukdev Goswami said, yes, Sri Sukdev Goswami said, after hearing from Uddhava all about the annihilation of his friends and relatives, the learned Vidura pacified his overwhelming bereavement by dint of his transcendental knowledge. 24. While Uddhava, the chief and most confidential amongst the devotees of the Lord, was going away, Vidura, in affection and confidence, questioned him. 24. 25. Vidura said, O Uddhava, because the servant of the Vishnu, the Lord, wander in the interest of serving others, it is quite fit that you kindly describe the self-knowledge with which you have been enlightened by the Lord Himself.
Is it the purport also?
Yes, purport. Purport by given the Srila Prabhupada. The servant of the Lord are actually the servant of the society. Servant of the Lord is the servant of the society. They have no interest in human society other than to enlighten it in transcendental knowledge. They are interested in imparting knowledge of the relationship of the living entities with Supreme Lord, the activities in that transcendental relationship, and the ultimate goal of human life. That is the real knowledge which can help society achieve the real aim of human welfare. Knowledge in the matter of bodily necessities of eating, sleeping, mating, and fearing, transformed into various branches of the advancement of knowledge, is all temporary. A living being is not the material body, but an eternal part and parcel of the Supreme Being, and thus revival of his self-knowledge is essential. Without this knowledge, the human life is baffled. The servants of the Lord Vishnu are entrusted with this responsible work, and so they wander over the earth and to all other planets in the universe. Thus, knowledge which was received by Uddhava directly from the Lord deserved to be distributed in human society, especially to persons like Vidura, who are highly advanced in the devotional service of the Lord. A real transcendental knowledge descends in the disciplic succession from the Lord to Uddhava, from Uddhava to Vidura, and so on. Such supreme transcendental knowledge is not possible to achieve by the process of imperfect speculation as performed by the so-called learned mundane wranglers. Vidura was anxious to know from Uddhava that the confidential knowledge known as Parampara Sthitim, in which the Lord is known by his transcendental pastimes. Although Vidura was older than Uddhava, yes, he was anxious to become a servant of Uddhava in the transcendental relationship. This formula of transcendental disciplic succession is taught by Lord Chaitanya also. Lord Chaitanya advises that one receive transcendental knowledge from anyone, whether a Brahmana or a Sudra, a householder or a sannyasi, provided that person is factually conversant with the science of Krishna. A person who knows the science of Krishna is factually a bona fide spiritual master. Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Jai Kesapru, so what was the verse spoken by Lord Chaitanya to
Jai Krishna Tattvata Sei Guru Hai.
what was the first line?
ফার্স্ট লাইন হচ্ছে যারে দেখো তারে ক কৃষ্ণ উপদেশ আমার আজ্ঞা নেই
Keva Vipra Keva Nasi
হ্যাঁ
Sudra
কিবা
Kena
বিপ্র কে হ্যাঁ কিবা বিপ্র কিবা নাসি শূদ্র কেন নয়
Sudra Kena Nai Jai Krishna
যে
Tattva Sei
কৃষ্ণ
Guru Hai.
তত্ত্ববেত্তা সেই গুরু হয়
So that's why material designations, they don't matter at all. What matters is whether one knows the science of devotion service. And because Uddhava had heard that devotion service or the knowledge of devotion service from the Supreme Lord, Vidura was very eager to hear it. And really speaking, this knowledge was really essence of everything. If you go through 11th canto Uddhav Gita, unfortunately, because Prabhupada left us long back, so many of our ISKCON devotees don't go through those verses. But actually speaking, those verses are heart and soul of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Prabhupada, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, they all have quoted 11th canto verses like anything. Like anything. Like no, about Kanishthadikari, Madhyamadhikari, Uttamadhikari. Then various details about deity worship. So many things are there. We'll find them. Prabhupada has quoted them so often, and it is from the 11th canto. Similarly, Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad has quoted 11th canto like anything. So 11th canto is like essence of all the knowledge, especially the Uddhav Gita. So Vidura was very, very eager to hear this knowledge. So this knowledge is like, if you get this knowledge, entire philosophy of Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, everything is there within this Uddhav Gita. So Vidura was very eager to hear it. Yes, Vratadharko?
Prabhuji, this statement in the purport, whether a Brahmana or a Shudra, so this Shudra is by birth, right? Not by activities.
See, even by activities, if somebody is a Sudra, still we can accept knowledge from him. See, Sudra means anyone who derives salary. So I think so most of the people sitting here would come in that category by profession.
Okay.
So anybody who accepts a master and accepts a salary is called a Sudra. Brahmana, Kshatriyas and Vaisyas, they don't accept salaries. Brahmana accepts charity, they perform service and whatever comes on its own accord they accept. Kshatriyas accept taxes and gifts. Taxes they are supposed to use for public welfare and gifts they can use for themselves. So this is for Kshatriyas. For Vaisyas, they earn by trading. They have no master. But anybody who derives salary is called a Sudra. And that is the reason Prabhupada would say that current modern education is producing the wholesale sale of Sudras. As soon as a student comes out of college, he says, where is my job? So it's like modern education training to be Sudras.
So, Prabhuji, can we connect this to the famous example of milk touched by a serpent and pure milk? So it says that you should not hear Krishna Katha from a Vaishnav who is not a Vaishnav. So we should not take those instructions. So how do we see this statement, Prabhuji, and that example together? Is there a how do I say contradiction here, Prabhuji, or they're still both are true?
See, when we see the position in one's varna and ashram, that is like the proclivity which we got from the past lives, and we act accordingly. But any of the proclivities of any of the varnas and ashramas can be purified if it is used for Krishna service. So it has nothing to do with Krishna consciousness. It has nothing to do with Krishna consciousness. So now when Prabhupada talks about Brahmana, we have to understand the difference between a Brahmana and a Brahminical culture. So now everybody cannot be a Brahmana because of our past conditionings and also according to training, the way we are trained. Like I was telling, modern education has trained all of us to become a Sudra. That's why immediately when we pass out from IITs or even very good colleges, we look for where is my job. So that type of training which we had. But that doesn't mean that we don't accept Brahminical culture. Brahminical culture means getting up early in the morning, keeping the cleanliness, following 480 principles, then performing deity worship. So all these things, they come in a Brahminical culture. So without changing our varna and ashram, we can still accept Brahminical culture to come to mode of goodness. And then after coming to mode of goodness, we practice Krishna consciousness and we go beyond. So in that context, if you see, then there may be personalities like Nagpatnis who are not even human beings. And so actually among animals also, snakes are considered the lowest ones. But then the prayers of Nagpatnis are given in Srimad Bhagavatam. Similarly, Garuna. Vulture is considered not like a very dignified bird, because you know what it eats. But because he's serving the Supreme Lord, he is considered the topmost devotee. So there's a Krishna consciousness is beyond gross and subtle designations. It has nothing to do with Krishna consciousness. So, I hope I couldn't hear a complete question, But I hope I am able to answer the question.
So Prabhuji, I think this Shudra is also a devotee. I mean, right? This is also a devotee. The Shudra mentioned here. That is why we are hearing from him.
Yes. See, what? Yes, exactly.
Okay.
See, why Mahaprabhu used Sudra also? Because actually speaking, Ramananda Rai was Sudra. So Ramananda Rai spoke this knowledge to Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya said that even though you are a Sudra, because you are the knower of knowledge of Krishna consciousness, that to the Rasa Tattva. That's why, although I'm a Brahmana and a sannyasi, I will hear.
Oh.
So Ramananda Rai was both a Sudra because he was taking salary from King Pratap Rudra. At the same time, he was also a householder. Despite that, Lord Chaitanya heard Krishna Tattva from Ramananda.
Okay. Clear. Thank you.
Now, Sudra doesn't mean that no, oh, he doesn't know anything about Krishna consciousness and we just go and accept him.
Yeah.
But for that matter, even if somebody is Sudra or somebody may be a sannyasi and a Brahmana, but if he is not a devotee, we don't hear from them. Somebody may be Brahmana, first class Brahmana and sannyasi, still that doesn't give him a qualification to speak Krishna consciousness. So now somebody can read 26th verse and the
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, 24th, in the translation it is in while Uddhava the chief and most confidential amongst the devotees of the Lord. So how the, just please little bit elaborate this Uddhava, how he is the most confidential among all other devotees.
Actually, among the devotees of Dwaraka, Uddhava is considered the most confidential. For many reasons, but one very prime reason is that Krishna sent Uddhava only to Vrindavan. So Krishna didn't send any other devotee from Dwaraka to Vrindavan because he knew that Uddhava will understand the mood of the Vrajavasis and appreciate it. So that's why Uddhava is considered the most confidential. So this is one reason. And apart from that, we see many things, pastimes where Krishna performed. Krishna was hesitant to take other devotees, but he took only Uddhava. Like for example, one of the pastimes is when after killing Kansa, he goes back to Trivraka, Kubja. Another name was Trivraka. So he goes there and actually he enjoys with Kubja also. So that time Uddhava was right there sitting on the floor when Krishna was there with Kubja. So Krishna performed very intimate pastimes outside Vrindavan. Krishna kept Uddhava with him. And Krishna would reveal all his heart, what he felt for the Vrajavasi, Nanda Maharaj, Yasodama, everything. He would narrate it to Uddhava. And that is why Uddhava is called like very confidential devotee. Okay, Jai Keshav.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you.
Yeah. Actually, a certain statements, when they are spoken, they are contextual, they are not like absolute. Like for example, some devotees ask, no, how can you say Vaishnava Nam Yatha Sambhu? When because Radharani is there, Radharani is the topmost devotee. How can you say Lord Shiva is the topmost devotee? So there's a context in which particular statements are spoken. Now it comes to all the devotees over all the universes everywhere. Suddenly nobody can match with Radharani because Radharani is as good as Krishna only. But then among those who are staying in the material world, Lord Shiva is said to be the greatest devotee because Lord Shiva is not a Jiva Tattva. He is a expansion of Lord Vishnu with 55 qualities. At the same time, he is always absorbed in the Lord. There's never a time he forgets the Lord. So that's why he's called the topmost. Okay. Somebody can read this one? 26 translation purport.
I'll introduce. Shri Uddhava said, "You may take lessons from the great learned sage Maitreya, who is nearby and who is worshipable perception of transcendental knowledge. He was directly instructed by the personality of Godhead while he was about to quit this mortal world. Purport by Divine Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Although one may be well versed in the transcendental science, one should be careful about the offense of Maryada Vyatikram, or impertinently surpassing a greater personality. According to scriptural injunction, one should be very careful of truncating the law of Maryada Vyatikram, because by so doing, one loses his duration of life, his opulence, fame, and piety, and the blessings of all the world. To be well versed in the transcendental science necessitates awareness of the techniques of spiritual science. Uddhava, being well aware of these technicalities of transcendental science, advised Vidura to approach Maitreya Rishi to receive transcendental knowledge. Vidura wanted to accept Uddhava as his spiritual master, but Uddhava did not accept the post because Vidura was as old as Uddhava's father, and therefore Uddhava could not accept him as a disciple, especially when Maitreya was present nearby. The rule is that in the presence of a higher personality, one should not be very eager to impart instructions, even if one is competent and well versed. So Uddhava decided to send an elderly person like Vidura to Maitreya, another elderly person, but he was well versed also because he was directly instructed by the Lord while he was about to quit this mortal world. Since both Uddhava and Maitreya were directly instructed by the Lord, both had the authority to become the spiritual master of Vidura or anyone else. But Maitreya, being elderly, had the first claim to becoming the spiritual master, especially for Vidura, who was much older than Uddhava. One should not be eager to become a spiritual master cheaply for the sake of profit and fame, but should become a spiritual master only for the service of the Lord. The Lord never tolerates the impertinence of Maryada Vyatikram. One should never pass over the honor due to an elderly spiritual master in the interest of one's own personal gain and fame. Impertinence on the part of the pseudo spiritual master is very risky to progressive spiritual realization. Harish.
Thank you. So this is a big topic of Maryada Vatikrama. Somebody can give an example where one is caught up in such a situation in the real life within ISKCON. Yes, Siddhartha.
No, Vijaya, I don't know the answer.
I thought you couldn't hear. So my question was that in within ISKCON also sometimes we find this particular dilemma of Maryada Vatikrama. And we may be caught up. Somebody would like to give some example?
Really, I'm not sure, but recently we were at our Guru Maharaj's Vyas Puja, and then his godbrother was also there. I mean, one more Maharaj was there. So they both were like a bit hesitant to speak first. So they were asking, "You speak first. You speak first." So this kind of thing was happening. Is it something like this, Prabhuji? I'm not sure, Prabhuji. So they were like asking the other person to other Maharaj to speak first, something like this.
Yes, yes. So this is like something which happens like where now they take a lower palette. It's like more of an act of humility. But this might happen when Aarti is performed and we are going with a ghee lamp. After offering to Prabhupada, we have to supposed to offer to some senior devotees. And then time we may find sometimes that there may be elderly devotee who's a Prabhupada disciple, who's a Grasta, and there may be young sannyasi standing nearby. So now the dilemma comes, whom should we offer first? To Prabhupada disciple who's elderly or the young sannyasi? So then the etiquette is that now we should offer to sannyasi and then to this personality, who may be more advanced in Krishna consciousness, more elderly. But then according to etiquette, we offer to a sannyasi first. So here Maryada comes in picture. Although we may know that some other person who may be more elevated in Krishna consciousness, but although this person is very elevated, we respect the order of Varnashram. Since Varnashram sannyasi is considered the highest, so that's why we offer to them. So this is like one of the examples. Yeah. Something similar, someone has some other incidents? Kirtita Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanavats. Yes, Prabhuji, I have, but I also have a question with that. You know Rohini Sutta, Prabhuji, Vrindavan. So we have gone parikrama with him. But what happens is sometimes there are disciples of His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj. And when Rohini Sutta Prabhuji was giving class in one of the, so we do the Vrindavan parikrama. So in a very holy dham, when the disciples saw their Guru Maharaj, they left the lecture right in the middle and they rushed to their Guru Maharaj just to offer obeisances. Now, we were shocked. We didn't know what to do. So what should the Maryada be? Etiquette in this case?
Okay. So in such cases, generally what we do is, actually speaking, we can tell to the speaker himself that no, Radha Govind Maharaj is coming. Right? We are talking about Radha Govind Maharaj coming nearby. Na? Yeah. So if you tell to him, then he himself will take a forward step to greet Maharaj and invite him. So generally it's a etiquette that when we are sitting in Vyasasana and we are giving a class and some very senior devotees come, we generally praise them. And if deities are not nearby, then we even offer obeisances. If deities are there, we may not offer because we don't offer obeisance in front of deities. And then even the etiquette that we ask him that Maharaj, would you like to speak? And generally they don't speak, but that is the etiquette. But somebody is speaking Bhagavatam, sometimes they may not be aware of that. So then when audience is there, so the ideal thing is that audience shouldn't just disrespect this speaker also and get up and pay obeisances. They should, ideally speaking, they should tell to the speaker that Maharaj is there. So then he may come to say, okay, Maharaj is there. And then they would have some exchanges. So for me also, it's like many times I gave classes in Calcutta temple. And then sometimes Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj would come, Sat Dhanva Prabhu would come, Prabhupada disciple, and so many senior devotees. So the etiquette we would follow is that we would praise them, get up from the Vyasasana, ask them to please come and give class. But nobody ever gave class. But it's a duty, it's the duty. And actually speaking, the speaker should be ready also. So some very senior personality. Somebody very senior personality who is a GBC and a Prabhupada disciple and not like sannyasi. Then we do such an activity. So I hope I'm clear. But when we are in audience, then we can inform the speaker that no Maharaj is there. So that's our duty.
So in this case, Prabhuji, we were embarrassed what the audience did because the speaker was speaking and he was shocked that people just rushed out towards the right and they saw Guru Maharaj's car. So Guru Maharaj went through back door to have darshan of deity and suddenly the disciples saw and they just left so Prabhuji was also shocked. So out of respect to keep the momentum, most of us, we held ourselves back and we stayed with Prabhuji. And then we were just trying to continue. So it was an embarrassing situation, basically.
Actually speaking, we could have told that na Prabhuji Maharaj is there. So then he might have
understood the sentiments of the disciple. He's he's a very great, compared to us, he's still a great Vaishnava. So he understood the sentiments. It's just we're just saying that what the audience etiquette should have been, the Maryada should have been, is ask for permission, then left. Yes, just he's speaking, the speaker is speaking, and you're just leaving. Very bad etiquette, really. And that's also Srimad Bhagavatam and glories of Lord Krishna. Anyway.
It's true. Ras, you last.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So you asked for one example. One is during Pradakshina of Tulsi Maharani, because it is started by the most senior. So they say Yani Kani Chapapani, and then you are just waiting for the person to go forward, and we are waiting for the senior persons to go first, and then we can follow them. But that's etiquette. Prabhuji, that's regarding this Maryada. The other question I had is that shastrically in classes, we hear stuff, right? Like, for example, you said that in front of the deities, you don't offer obeisances to sannyasis or, anyone. But I have seen senior disciples of Maharaj do that very, very often. I mean, it's like almost every time I've seen it. And so now the question arises, I can follow the footsteps of my seniors and I can also do the same thing as they are doing, or I can follow what I've heard in classes and everything and not offer obeisances. And I have heard both ways being right, meaning you can offer obeisances to the spiritual master in front of the deities also, and as long as you are doing it um, considering the relationship of that person to Krishna, I've heard that as being the reason for it being okay. I've heard that as I've heard that as one of the approaches of how that can be correct. Now, in my case, the dilemma is that I'm seeing my seniors do it. So should I follow my seniors or should I not follow my seniors? And that's one thing. Then the other thing is basically, when you're offering obeisances to Prabhupada, what I know, what I have heard, and maybe I have read is, whenever you offer obeisances to deities of any Vishnu Tattva, you always offer obeisances with your left side towards the deities. And to the spiritual master and to Prabhupada, you should offer straight up, right? But just because of the arrangement of deities and everything, you might not be able to offer it straight up. But then I think the better option is actually to have the right side towards Prabhupada and left side towards the deities, right? Because then that way you're fulfilling all criteria. But what you're seeing is that all the devotees, everyone is doing it the other way around. So then, it's like, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I follow all the devotees? Should I? And in my case, what I generally choose to do is I just follow what the devotees are doing. I don't want to use my own head and do something opposite to how everyone else is doing. So can you throw some light on that, Prabhuji?
Okay. So I'm keeping it off so that now my internet is okay. So for the first question regarding offering obeisance to the spiritual master in front of the deities, it's very clearly written that even one should not offer obeisance to the spiritual master also in front of the deities. Now in India, what happens is, in India, because people have so much respect for a sannyasi, that practically everybody offers obeisances. So I have seen certain spiritual masters, for some time they have been speaking to their disciples, because disciples, they don't hear at all. So then out of tiredness, they don't speak anymore. They know this country's culture cannot be changed. They have so much respect for a sannyasi, they won't change. I remember Bhakti Madhav Govind Maharaj in his initial days, when he just took sannyas. So then anybody would offer obeisances, he would beat them with a stick. Hey, how can you offer obeisance in front of deities? How can you offer obeisances? And I saw him after 1 year. Maharaj was like, how can I explain these people? They will never understand. So it's like no, out of you can say disgust or getting tired, they don't speak. But ideally speaking, one shouldn't offer. So even if some senior devotees are offering, we don't offer, then many times they understand. They understand, this person is following scriptures strictly, and we are so spontaneous, we just can't follow. So they won't feel offended. And when it comes to paying obeisance to Prabhupada, yes, so the right thing is that now we should offer obeisance to spiritual master and Prabhupada with our head, and it is for the left side. But then the way things are arranged in ISKCON temple, we are bound to do that. And because now, if you are not offering from head, whether it is left side, right side, doesn't make much sense or difference. Then you offer from any side, doesn't matter. So if everybody is offering from left side, then let us offer from left side only. And also from a convenience point of view, it's easier to preach a new person by saying that whenever you offer obeisance in ISKCON temple, put the deities on the left side. So when it's Prabhupada or Bhakti Saraswati or deities or this and that, everybody offers from left side. It's easier from that point of view. So that's why if there's the opportunity, we offer obeisances to Prabhupada by putting our head in front of him. And if there's no such opportunity and we're in a temple, it's like a choice. We can choose to be on right side, but then some devotees may not like it because we are breaking the trend. So being a part of trend, we can just offer from the left side. Okay, last one.
Yes, Prabhuji.
But
Thank you.
we can understand this in such fashion also that Guru Prabhupada is representative of Krishna. So we should offer him as, we should serve him as a Krishna only. Is it? We can take?
No, we may take it like that. Actually, that's true.
Because
But even if you offer,
Prabhupada allow his Guru Puja in front of deities. As per scriptures, in front of deity, even Tulsi Maharani is not being worshipped in front of when altar is open. But Prabhupada allowed the Guru Puja, his Guru Puja in front of deities. It is because of this only, because Guru is representative of Krishna. And
actually,
he personally set up all this pranama, how to do it, all those things.
see, when it comes to like offering, praying to the deities, as far as I heard from Jannavas Prabhu, what he was saying, we had this question regarding worshipping of Tulsi Maharani in front of deities. So what Jannavas Prabhu said is because Tulsi Maharani is a part of a deity itself. So that's why offering worship to Tulsi Maharani in front of altar is not an offense.
No, I'm not saying it is an offense. I am just adding to it that Guru is representative of Krishna himself, and Prabhupada himself allow his Guru Puja in front of deities.
See, Prabhupada allowing Guru Puja in front of deities was a great risk.
Yes, that is the reason I'm saying that we can offer pranama from left side to Prabhupada. But one of this reason, even to offering obeisances to Guru in front of deity, we don't do physical pranam to Guru, but yes, in the conscious we can chant his pranam mantra when we see Guru.
Within the mind we can do, yes.
Within the mind. And because whenever we do pranam to the deities also, first we chant our Guru pranam mantra, then Prabhupada pranam mantra, then the deity pranam mantras. So this is the process. So when Guru come, we can do pranama and then we offer our obeisances to the deities too. In such fashion we can go. Some senior Vaishnava explain me these things, so that is the reason I'm adding to it. I'm sorry if anything wrong into it.
Yeah. Okay. So now whether it's like offering obeisances from the head or from the left side, but certainly we understand one thing is that whether it's Prabhupada or our Param Guru or Param Guru or anyone, they all are representative of the Supreme Lord only. And the ideal thing is to pay obeisances with our head towards the spiritual master. But then we actually follow the etiquettes which are laid down by the previous acharyas. So the way things were set up by Prabhupada within his ISKCON premises, and the way Prabhupada was accepting respect from his disciples, we just continue to follow that. Because for ultimately, Prabhupada is our savior. And if we follow whatever was set up by Prabhupada would be very pleased. So privately, in our private life, within our premises of the house or some other separate place, we can do whatever we want. But when we are within the ISKCON temple, the ideal way is to just follow whatever Prabhupada has set as a standard, and just we can go ahead. Thank you, Sadhu Garampu, for your comments. So, Vartadarpu?
Prabhuji, there's a book, a small book by the name Introduction to Krishna Consciousness. I was reading it several years back, Prabhuji, and there it is mentioned that if you are doing altar seva and a senior devotee walks into the temple and there's nobody to attend him, then you should stop your seva and go and attend the devotee, senior devotee. So is this true, Prabhuji, or I've misunderstood this point? Because I read it several years back, Prabhuji.
Yeah, I also heard this point, but now beyond that, we have to really verify from Hari Bhakti Vilas or some other scriptures. So from there, certainly we can say it is right, but I didn't read it in any other book. So that's why I can't speak with a lot of confidence.
Okay.
So what you read, I also read that. But then we have to, if the reference, if you remember the reference given in the book, then we can speak with a lot of confidence. If not, then we have to be like, we have to cross verify.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, Kirtita Vallavi Mataji.
Prabhuji, I just had a question. So this incident happened outside the temple. So we had gone for Pandu Vijaya ceremony early in the morning before Lord Jagannatha comes out. The first darshan that we have of the trio. And we met His Holiness Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj. So outside the temple precinct, we were waiting, and we all paid our obeisances to him. And he totally stopped the whole process. He says, "You cannot do this. You're not supposed to do it in the temple." So we got confused, but we didn't ask any question because we were doing it outside the temple and not in front of the Lord. But then he's a Swami, so we had to follow his instruction. So is it true we're not supposed to offer even obeisances in front of the temple?
I don't know. Maybe he has some deities there. We are not sure. So I'm not very sure whether maybe some other emblem of deity or deity themselves may be there. So no, we are not sure. Within the temple premises, we are not supposed to do. That we know from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Mahaprabhu when
Yeah,
he
it was in the temple premises, but outside the main temple, like when Lord comes out, we are in the temple and we have his first darshan. But like he stopped us and we just kept quiet and we just followed his instruction.
Yeah, actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself had stopped one Bengali Vaishnava from drinking the water from his lotus feet. And Mahaprabhu chastised him very heavily by saying that now if you do that, then the person who accepts the respect has to go to hell. So that etiquette is given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but within the temple premises we don't do it. So it's like now within ISKCON sannyasis we find then practically most of the sannyasis generally stay within temple premises only. And what we consider as temple premises is like a puzzling thing within ISKCON temples, because we have guest house also and this and that, whether we can call it a part of temple, not a part of temple, becomes a confusion. But at least within Jagannath Puri or some other very big temples, it's very clear what is temple premises and what is not temple premises. So then we can be careful there. But within ISKCON temple, at least in front of altar, we may not do it. And then sometimes certain sannyasis are very strict about certain things and certain are not. So then we should get purified by chastisement. And it's a part of life. What to say of that? Many times for same activity, we have heard encouragement from certain senior devotees and chastisement from same senior devotees. And they have like their own viewpoints. And then we respect both of them and accept both the things. We use our intelligent right time. I won't tell a name, but I can tell a incident. So it is in Prabhupada Samadhi. So these two devotees are like very exalted devotees. I won't take their names. And both are Prabhupada disciples. So they came to one of the Prabhupada disciples came and he was very near to Prabhupada. Both of them are like very near to Prabhupada. So he heard the tune of Sehnai. Sehnai was being played in the temple premises, at Samadhi premises. And this devotee came and he said, "What this nonsense is going on in the morning? Stop it. Is it time for chanting japa? So we should chant japa peacefully. Why this sound is going on?" And the temple in charge were like so terrified. He immediately stopped the sound. And no, he was like, what should I say? No, because my in charge told me to play. I played it. And now he's more senior to my in charge also. He's saying, I'll stop it. And just within 10 minutes, another Prabhupada disciple came. He is also very close to Prabhupada. He said, where is the sound of Sehnai? Prabhupada has personally instructed me that I should play this sound within the Samadhi premises all the time. So play this sound. And then he said that no, this particular Maharaj said that no, we should not play. Who is this Maharaj? You know, Prabhupada has personally spoken to me. Is he greater than Prabhupada? No, he's not greater than Prabhupada, but I am, but all of you are greater than me. What should I do? It's like getting chastisement from all the sides. So these things may keep on happening. It's a part of our spiritual journey.
It happened with you, Prabhuji?
No, it didn't happen with me. It happened with some other senior devotee, but I happen to be nearby. So
Prabhuji, I know exactly the two people you're referring to.
okay. You don't have to tell their names. So both of them are Prabhupada. Hari. Okay, now we can read 27th.
Shukadev Goswami said, O king, after thus discussing with Vidura the transcendental name, fame, qualities, etc. on the bank of the Yamuna, Uddhava was overwhelmed with great affliction. He passed the night as if it were a moment, and thereafter he went away.
So as far as I remember, this is the exact place which is near to Radha Govind temple. So I can't speak with a lot of surety, but there's like a park in Vrindavan, and the local people said that this is the place where Vidura met with Uddhava. So it's near to Radha Govind temple in Vrindavan. So they met there, and then they discussed Krishna Katha there. Now, Uddhava's role after disappearance of Krishna. Somebody would like to read 28, 29, 30?
Hare Krishna,
28,
Prabhuji.
29. Yes, please.
28, 29, right?
Yes.
Translation. The king inquired, at the end of the pastimes of the Lord of the three worlds, Sri Krishna, and after the disappearance of the members of the Vrishni and Bhoja dynasties, who were the best of the great commanders, why did Uddhava alone remain? 29. Shukadeva Goswami replied, My dear king, the cursing of the Brahmanas was only a plea, but the actual fact was a supreme desire of the Lord. He wanted to disappear from the face of the earth after dispatching his excessively numerous family members. He thought to himself as follows. Shloka 30 also, right, Prabhu?
You can read the purport, Mataji. Possibly, yeah.
Okay, Shloka 29. Purport. In this verse, the word Takshyan is very significant in relation to Lord Sri Krishna's leaving his body. Since he is the eternal form of existence, knowledge, and bliss, his body and his self are identical. Therefore, how is it possible that he would leave his body and then disappear from the vision of the world? There is a great controversy amongst the non-devotees or Mayavadis about the mysterious disappearance of the Lord, and the doubts of those men with a poor fund of knowledge have been very elaborately cleared by Srila Jiva Goswami in his Krishna Sandarbha. According to Brahma Samhita, the Lord has many forms. It is stated therein that the Lord has innumerable forms, and when he appears within the vision of the living entities, as Lord Krishna actually appeared, all such forms amalgamate with him. Besides all these infallible forms, he has his universal form, as manifested before Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Here in this verse, the word Spitam is also used, which indicates that he left his gigantic universal form called the Virata Rupa, not his primeval eternal form, because there is hardly any possibility of his changing his form of Sat Chit Anand. This simple understanding is at once realized by the devotees of the Lord, but those who are non-devotees, who perform hardly any devotional service to the Lord, either do not understand the simple fact or purposely raise a controversy to defeat the eternity of the transcendental body of the Lord. This is due to the defect called the cheating propensity of the imperfect living entities. By practical experience also, it is seen up to the present day that the Lord's transcendental form is worshipped by devotees in different temples, and all the devotees of the Lord factually realize that the form of the deity in the temple is not different from the form of the Lord. This inconceivable performance of the internal potency of the Lord is described in Bhagavad Gita 7.25. Naham prakashah sarvasya yogamaya samavritah. The Lord reserves the right of not being exposed to everyone. In the Padma Puran, it is said, Atha Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhavet Grahyam Indriyai. The name and the form of the Lord cannot be perceived by the material senses, but when he appears within the vision of the mundane people, he assumes the form of the Virata Rupa. This is an additional material exhibition of form and is supported by the logic of a subject and its adjectives. In grammar, when an adjective is taken away from the subject it modifies does not change. Similarly, when the Lord quits his Virata Rupa, his eternal form does not change, although there is no material difference between himself and any one of his innumerable forms. In the 5th canto, it will be seen how the Lord is worshipped in different planets in his different forms, even now, and how he is worshipped in different temples of this earth also. Srila Jiva Goswami and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur have very elaborately explained this incident of the Lord's disappearance in their commentaries, quoting various authentic versions of the Vedic literatures. We purposely do not include them all here to avoid an increase in the volume of this book. The entire matter is explained in Bhagavad Gita as quoted above. The Lord reserves the right of not being exposed to everyone. He always keeps himself out of the vision of the non-devotees who are devoid of love and devotion, and thus he puts them still further away from the Lord. The Lord appeared on the invitation of Brahma, who prayed before the Kshirodakshai Vishnu, and therefore when the Lord appeared, all the forms of the Vishnu amalgamated with him, and when the mission was fulfilled, all of them disintegrated from him in the usual course. Hare Krishna.
So, Parikshit Maharaj begins to ask about why did Uddhava alone remain? Everybody went away. Why did Uddhava alone remain? So then Sukadeva Goswami replies that it was Krishna's desire. So Krishna wanted to first send the family members, then he wanted to go, but then he had a specific mission. So he wanted to fulfill this mission through Uddhava, and that is further explained in the further verses. Yes, somebody can read 30, 31, 32. What was
Now I
Krishna's
shall
mission?
leave the vision of this mundane world, and I see that Uddhava, the foremost of my devotees, is the only one who can be directly entrusted with knowledge about me. Text 31. Uddhava is not inferior to me in any way because he is never affected by the modes of material nature. Therefore, he may remain in this world in order to disseminate specific knowledge of the personality of Godhead. 32. Shukadeva Goswami informed the king that Uddhava, being thus instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the source of all Vedic knowledge and the spiritual master of the three worlds, reached the pilgrimage site of Badarikashrama and engaged himself there in trance to satisfy the Lord.
Thank you. So,
Krishna Prabhuji, the 31 purport, can we read?
you can read, yes.
31. The 31, that the specific qualification for becoming the representative of the Lord is to be unaffected by the modes of material nature. The highest qualification of a person in the material world is to be a Brahmana. But since a Brahmana is the mode of goodness, to be a Brahmana is not sufficient for becoming a representative of the Lord. One has to transcend the mode of goodness also and be situated in unalloyed goodness, unaffected by the qualities of the material nature. The stage of transcendental qualification is called Suddha Sattva, Visuddha Sattva. In this stage, the science of God can be realized. As the Lord is not affected by the modes of material nature, so a pure devotee of the Lord is also not affected by the modes of material nature. That is the primary qualification for being one with the Lord. A person who is able to attain the transcendental qualification is called Jivan Mukta or liberated, even though he is apparently in the material condition. This liberation is achieved by one who constantly engages in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. In Bhakti Rasamrita, it is said, Iya jassa hare dasya karmana manasa gira nikhilesu apyavastasu jivan mukta sauchyate. And anyone who by his action, mind, word lives only for the transcendental loving service of the Lord is certainly a liberated soul, even though he may appear to be in a condition of material existence. Uddhava was in such a transcendental position that he was selected to be the factual representative of the Lord in his bodily absence from the vision of the world. Such devotee of the Lord is never affected by the material strength, intelligence, and even renunciation. Such a devotee of the Lord can withstand all onslaughts of the material nature, and therefore he is known as Goswami. Only such Goswami can penetrate the mysteries of the Lord's transcendental loving relationship.
So, Prabhupada has basically given a purport on this first line. Uddhava is not inferior to me in any way, because he is never affected by the modes of material nature. So Prabhupada has elaborated on that this particular line by saying that how Uddhava is also as good as Krishna in the sense that he is not God, but he is also not affected by three modes of material nature. So as soon as a devotee advances to the level of bhav, the symptoms of bhav are explained in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Suddha Saddha Visesatma, Premam Su Samabhak, Ruchivis Chittamarsanya, Krita Swabhava Uchate. So the first line say Suddha Sattva Visesatma. Suddha Sattva Visesatma means that Suddha Sattva is the heart and soul of a devotee. So till the level of bhav, we are governed by three modes of material nature: Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamagun. But as soon as one comes to the platform of bhav, one is governed by Sandhini, Samvid, and Ladini Shaktis. So then instead of being governed by external energies, one is controlled by the internal energies. So then such a devotee is not controlled by the external energies of the Lord. So that's explained by Prabhupada in the purport. Okay. And also in 32, actually what Krishna thinks is explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So what he says is that as far as I am concerned, I gave darshan to everyone. In the plea of finding the disciples of my Guru, I went to Yamloka and gave my darshan to Yamraj. Actually, Yamraj was not supposed to be there. That time, Aryama was supposed to be there, who is chief of all the Pitris. So then he went there. Then, on the plea of finding the sons of the Brahmana in Dwarika, who were cursing Krishna and Balram, and later on Arjuna took a vow to find them. So he went everywhere practically. Krishna said, and I went to Sutaloka, and there Bali Maharaj worshipped me. And I went to practically all the planetary systems. Rather, I even went till Mahavishnu. But somehow I couldn't go and meet the sages who were associates of Narayana Rishi, and they're still doing my tapasya in Bhadrakasa. So then what I would do is I would send them Uddhava, because Uddhava is as good as myself. So these people have been doing so much meditation to get the knowledge I would give them essence of all the knowledge by the medium of Uddhava. So that's why Krishna had left Uddhava in order to fulfill his mission of giving that Uddhav Gita to the sages of Badrikasa. So that was the main reason. Yes, Kirtida Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I like your statement of Sandhini Samvad Ladini, but I just got confused. So, okay, if you can, I got muddled right now. So that is a feature of internal potency. Satchit Anand is us souls and the Lord. Like, where do they meet? Satchit Anand and Samvat Sandhini, where do they meet?
Samvet Sandhini Ladini, their part and parcel is Satchit Anand. Part and parcel of Sandhini potency is Sat potency. Part and parcel of Samvit potency is Chit potency. And part and parcel of Anand potency, part and parcel of Ladini potency is Anand potency. So they are the same potencies, but in minute quantity and the huge quantity. Okay, so now we can read from 33 to 36. Vidura's enlightenment by Uddhava and further journey.
Hare Krishna. 33. Vidura also heard from Uddhava about the appearance and disappearance of Lord Krishna, the super soul, in the mortal world, which is a subject matter sought after with great perseverance by the great sages. Shloka 34. The Lord's glorious acts and his acceptance of various transcendental forms for the performance of extraordinary pastimes in the mortal world are very difficult for anyone other than his devotees to understand. And for the beasts, they are simply a mental disturbance. Shloka 35. Understanding that he was remembered by Lord Krishna while quitting this world, Vidura began to cry loudly, overwhelmed by the ecstasy of love. 36 also, Prabhuji?
Yeah, 36 also.
Shloka 36. After passing a few days on the bank of the river Yamuna, Vidura, the self-realized soul, reached the bank of the Ganges, where the great sage Maitreya was situated. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So we find that Vidura heard from Uddhava about appearance and disappearance of Lord Krishna, practically heard all the Vrindavan Leela, Dwarka Leela, everything in coincides, the ecstasies of Uddhava. And then about disappearance of Krishna also, which was very difficult. But when he remembered that Krishna told Uddhava in verse number 21 that Lord had instructed Uddhava to give this transcendental knowledge. And Methra also actually informed. Later on, Methra also informed the Vidura. So when he remembered, oh, Krishna was concerned about me while he was disappearing from this world, this gave a great ecstasy to Vidura. And that's why Vidura started crying like anything very loudly. My Lord is so great, but he is worried about an insignificant person like me. So that's why he begins to cry. Yes, Jai Keshav.
Which verse it is there that Lord Krishna was remembering Vidura when he was instructing Uddhava?
Actually, it will come in the next chapter, 3.5.21. But as our acharyas explained, that this was also informed to Vidura by Uddhava also. So although it is not mentioned here, but it was there. So he will further again hear it from Maitreya Muni later on. See, in this verse all it is given, understanding that he was remembered by Lord Krishna. This verse 35, verse number 35. While quitting this world, Vidura began to cry loudly, overwhelmed by the ecstasy of love. So this indicates that how did he understand? He understood by hearing from Uddhava. And again, Maitreya will say the same thing to Vidura in text 21 of the next chapter. Is it clear, Jai Kusap?
Yes, Prabhuji, it is clear. And I have the another question in this verse 35. And Srila Prabhupada said in the purport that Vidura accepted this as a great favor and thus he cried. This crying is the last word in the progressive path of devotional service. One who can cry for the Lord in love is certainly successful in the line of devotional service. So, and at the same thing also we get in one of the bhajan of Bhaktivinoda Thakur also, there's the crying. So, and I also heard in different lectures that yes, in the devotional service, crying is most important, but not that artificial crying. It is the crying from the heart actually. But how, I don't know, means how it will come, I don't know how, when. Means it's a very high level, Prabhuji.
Yeah, see, when we are talking about crying here, Prabhupada is referring to crying in separation from Krishna. So this is like a very high subject where crying in separation from Krishna is considered higher than meeting with Krishna. Vipralamba Bhava is considered more than Sambhog Bhava. So that is what Lord Chaitanya came and exhibited. We find similar mood within our acharyas also. That there are many people in this India will find, they say, oh, Radharani came in my dream and gave me a laddu. Or Krishna came in my dream and no, gave me a lotus. But although Goswamis of Vrindavan were seeing Krishna practically every day, they would say, He Radhe Vraja Devi ke chalalite, He Nanda Suno Kuta, Sri Govardhan Padva Padma Patale, Kalindivane Kuta. So, He Radhe Vraja Devi ke chalalite, He Nanda Suno Kuta. Where is Radharani? Where is Krishna? So they would cry for Krishna day and night. So now that is considered very highest mood. So we celebrate that mood. Currently, we may not be able to understand that mood because we are not on that level. So within perfection itself, within perfection, the perfection of feeling separation from Krishna is considered higher than just enjoying with Krishna. So that is what is mentioned by our acharyas. So this mood of Radharani crying for Krishna in Vrindavan, or Lord Chaitanya crying for Krishna in Gambhira, that is considered the highest ecstasy in the spiritual realm also. So that is what Prabhupada is mentioning. Now it is different from when we cry that no, I am not able to chant my rounds. Oh, you know, that crying is good crying that no, I am not able to chant my rounds, but it is not chanting of no crying of ecstasy. Or if somebody has to chant extra round and is crying, that's like even worse. Hey, what to do? You know, I'm in front of devotees, everybody chanting 16 rounds and more than 16 rounds. I also have to chant more than 16 rounds. That's not good. So crying can be of different levels, but what Prabhupada is referring here to is crying in separation from Krishna. That's considered the highest. And actually speaking, that is the reason why Lord Chaitanya spent his last days in Puri. Because there it is called Vipralamba Chitra. Like Vrindavan is called Mathura Dham. Mayapur is called Adarya Dham, the Dham of Mercy. Similarly, Puri is called Vipralamba Dham, Vipralamba Chitra. So Vipralamba Chitra means that is the place to develop feelings of separation from Krishna. So Krishna is in separation from Brajavasis, and that's why he appears as Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, having big eyes. And Lord Chaitanya, that's why he wanted to accept that mood and cry for Krishna day and night, and that is why he went to Puri. So although Sasimata had instructed him, but the real reason was this reason. So it is Vipralamba Chitra. So this Vipralamba Bhava is accepted by Gaudiya Vaishnavas to be the highest. Okay, Jai Keshav.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you, Prabhuji. Even Srila Prabhupada also was crying, but not he was not showing that one because he was crying internally in his heart.
Actually, pure devotees don't exhibit such symptoms, especially openly, and the reason is other people may also start imitating that. So then it may become a competition within the Vaishnava community. Like Bhakti Saraswati would condemn it like anything. He had a pastime called Charana Bhav. So I don't know whether you heard it. You heard of this Charana Bhav?
Yes,
Nahin.
Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
No, Prabhuji.
Okay. So once what happened in one village, they called a Kirtaniya. And Kirtaniya, they gave him a Athana, 50 paisa. So this Kirtaniya was singing and singing, and he sang for like 2-3 hours. And then he fainted for 45 minutes. And all the people were praising, what ecstasy, fainted for 45 minutes. So then neighboring villagers had come there. So they saw that we will also bring one good Kirtaniya like that. So they brought another Kirtaniya. And this Kirtaniya sang for 8 hours. And they said, no, what a taste. But then the first villagers were saying, but what about his ecstasy? And this fellow suddenly fainted. And this fellow was fainted, and all the people were seeing the watches now, how long is he fainted. And this fellow got up in 15 minutes. And these villagers were so angry. He said, this other fellow fainted for 45 minutes and you fainted only for 15 minutes. So then he said, Charana bhav ko to thakbe. Matlab, you just give me 25 paisa, how long will I faint? If you give me 50 paisa, then I'll faint for 45 minutes. If you give me 1 rupee, then I'll faint for 2 hours also. No, 15 minutes, 25 paisa, how long will I faint? So the Bhakti Saraswati tells this pastime by saying, they're like a cheap imitation. So in order to avoid that, our acharyas don't show those excesses.
Oh, please, so the word is char ana bhav, not charana bhav. Okay, char ana bhav.
Charana.
Charana, 25 paise. Charana.
25 paisa.
Okay. I thought it's like charan bhav, like feet.
No. Charana bhav.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Kirtida Mate.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Maybe I'll be going off topic, so please excuse me. Prabhuji, like in the 33rd translation, shloka, it's saying that Vidura also heard from Uddhava about the appearance, disappearance of Lord Krishna, the super soul. It's a very interesting statement. So when we talk about the levels of realization, Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan, here Lord Krishna should have been referred as the Bhagavan level, right? Because, or if like Paramatmeti realization or something like Lord Kapila would be at the Paramatmeti level realization. Lord Prishni would be at Paramatmeti. Lord Krishna would be at Bhagavan level. So this is a very interesting statement by Sukadeva Goswami.
Actually, when we say
doubt?
Paramatma, see, actually, when we say Paramatma refers to only 3 Vishnus: Garbhodaksha, Karnadaksha, and Kshirodaksha Vishnu. It doesn't even refer to Lord Kapila or Prishni Garva. So, Prishni Garva, yes, Prishni Garva, I'm doubtful, but at least not Lord Kapila. Lord Kapila's incarnation he's basically Saktavish avatar, Lord Kapila. So, they're different categories. Now, why Krishna is referred as Paramatmiti here? The reason is, like Paramatma is always present. He's eternal. He's everywhere. So you can't talk about his appearance and disappearance. So similarly, it is explained here that this particular feature is there within Krishna also. He's all pervading. He's everywhere. So his appearance and disappearance is more about like disappearance and appearance of sun. Sun doesn't die when he disappears. Sun doesn't become alive when he appears. He appears and disappears from our vision. So this is appearance and disappearance of Krishna from our vision point of view, not from Krishna's point of view. So that's why Krishna, when he's referred by certain words there's a meaning behind that. There's meaning behind that. So it is not taken in a tattva perspective. It's taken more of a particular feature of Krishna is referred at particular places. So what is referred here is like Paramatma is everywhere, but he's not visible. Similarly, Krishna becomes visible and invisible to our eyes, but he's that same Paramatma who stays everywhere eternally. I hope I'm able to answer the question.
Beautiful, Prabhuji. Thank you. Feature and sun example was to the dot. But I have further question of your first statement. So when you're saying Paramatmiti is only the Trini Vishnu, but I thought all the incarnations, Manavantara, Avatar, everything is expansion of Kshirodaksha Vishnu. So meditating on them would be at Paramatmiti level realization, right? Wouldn't that be?
Actually, see, when we say Paramatma, they are expansion of Kshirodaksha Vishnu. They are not expansion of Kshirodaksha Vishnu. They come via medium of Kshirodaksha Vishnu. Kshirodaksha Vishnu is called the fountain head of all the incarnations. Fountain head means like fountain doesn't produce water. Water is reserved somewhere else. Water is reserved somewhere else, and it comes through fountain. Similarly, all these incarnations who appear in this world, even if they're Leela avatars like Lord Ram, Lord Nrsimhadev, Varahadev, they all are there in the spiritual world, but they come via medium of Kshirodaksha Vishnu in the sense that demigods can only approach Kshirodaksha Vishnu. So demigods approach Kshirodaksha Vishnu, and then all the different incarnations, they descend. That's why they are called avatar. Avatar means avatarit. Who descends down are called avatars. So it's not that Kshirodaksha Vishnu only expands. Kshirodaksha Vishnu is the medium through whom all these avatars come. I hope.
So Paramatmiti level realization is actually just the three Vishnus, not the other incarnations, yes, Leela Avatar, Manavantara Avatar. No. So they are at Bhagavan level realization.
Yes. See, Paramatma realization means realization of Lord's dealing with matter.
Oh my God, Prabhuji, thank you so much. You just clarified a huge point. Oh, okay.
See, realization of Krishna's effulgence is called Brahman realization. Realization of Krishna's dealing with matter is called Paramatma realization, which is done by three Vishnus, creation, maintenance, destruction. And Krishna dealing with devotees is called Bhagavan realization.
So please repeat, Prabhuji, the middle one, the Paramatma realization, please.
Beautiful.
There's Lord's dealing with matter.
Lord's
matter
dealing
means with matter. Matter means creation, maintenance, destruction of this world is called Paramatma realization. And Lord's dealing with devotees is called Bhagavan realization. So Krishna dancing with the Gopas and dancing with the Gopis, or Lord Ram reciprocating with Jatayu and other devotees. These are all the realizations of the Bhagavan level. So it's only Lord's dealing with matter is called Paramatma.
Beautiful, Prabhuji. Wow. You just in one sentence. That fountainhead example was also beautiful. The conduit. Got it. Very clear. Crystal clear now. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Now we'll take the summary of the 5th chapter. So after Uddhava leaves for Badrika Ashram, now Vidura is directed by Uddhava to meet Maitreya Rishi. So Vidura's questions to Maitreya Rishi are explained in verse number 1 to 9. Verse number 10 to 16 discusses about Vidura's interest in Krishna Katha. Then 17 to 21 discusses about Maitreya Rishi who honored Vidura and expressed gratitude. Because he knows that Vidura is son of Vyasadeva and his incarnation of Yamraj himself, who is a Mahajan. So Maitreya Rishi celebrates his opportunity to discuss Krishna Katha with Vidura, who is Yamaraj himself. Then method is, he describes the process of creation, verse number 22 to 38. And 39 to 51 discusses about prayers of elemental demigods, who are called Tattva Devatas. We'll discuss it. I won't give a hint because it will become a discussion. With the different sets of demigods. These demigods appear just after creation of the elements, even before creation of Brahma. So they offer the prayers to the Lord. So that we'll discuss from 39 to 50. So when we discuss that, we'll discuss about the technical details.
Prabhuji, I have one more question. Sorry, can I ask you one more question?
Okay. So then maybe we'll start a chapter next class. We'll just ask.
Okay. Prabhuji, the concept of like, so in one of the shloka, I think when Jayakesha Prabhuji was reading about Jivan Mukta. So a Jivan Mukta, is Lord Brahma Jivan Mukta? First question. Is he categorized as Jivan Mukta, having the material body, but he is a devotee?
Yeah. See, anybody who realizes that I am not the body, but I am in the body, or one who realizes his own eternal position or eternal relationship with Krishna, he is called a Jivan Mukta. So Jivan Mukta means one is established in the position of being eternal servant of Krishna, and he has facility of eternal service to Krishna with him.
And
so, like for example,
in the material body.
He may be in the material body. Like for example, Rupa Goswami. Now, Rupa Goswami, as Rupa Goswami was chanting 64 rounds and excavating the holy places and writing literature, etc. But as Rupa Manjari in his private life, he was serving Radha and Krishna.
Okay.
So that activity of serving Radha Krishna on a spiritual level comes in the category of Jivan Mukta state.
Okay. So Mahajanas, Vidura, Yamaraj, Jivan Mukta?
Supposed to be, because they are not ordinary people, they are supposed to be. But when they are governing this world, they may not be called as Jivan Mukta in that feature. In the feature of when they are serving the Lord within the spiritual world, they are called Jivan Muktas. See, Jivan Mukta means basically those who have realized their eternal position and they're acting on that eternal position.
And using this, if they're here in the material world.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yes, carry on, Prabhuji.
No. Actually, in the Jivan Mukta, in the purport where it is said that the pure devotee is not affected by the modes of material nature, and before that it is written the Lord is not affected by the modes of material nature because it is the Suddha Sattva. And similarly, the pure devotee is also the same. And that is the primary qualification. And a person who is able to attain that transcendental qualification is called Jivan Mukta. So that means, is it that Jivan Mukta state that the devotee, the pure devotee will be beyond the modes of material nature in the Suddha Sattva state?
Yes, certainly. See, the service in the spiritual world is in Sattva Suddha state. So Prabhupada is basically referring, see, when Prabhupada gives purports, one of the things which gives me a lot of faith in Prabhupada is Prabhupada either quotes generally some sloka or meaning of some sloka. So here Prabhupada is quoting Nikhalasya api avasthasu Jivan Mukta uchate. The definition of Jivan Mukta. So who is Jivan Mukta? One who has realized one's relationship with Krishna and is acting in that relationship with Krishna.
So it means who knows his Sarupa in Bhagavatam, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji. Exactly. So one who knows his Sarupa in the spiritual world and he privately acts on that, he is Jivan Mukta. Because he has attained freedom from subtle body. He doesn't identify with metal mind, metal ego anymore. He identifies more with his relationship with Krishna.
So, yes, Prabhuji, just, I'm sorry, just because we have one more minute. Arjuna, for example. Yes, the Pandavas, as per first canto, they were conduit for teaching the world how to, continue devotion in miserable condition. But the point is, Arjuna was affected. He was affected. He didn't want to fight. So is he still an example? He was affected. He was literally not affected by the material modes.
Okay. So actually speaking, there are different perspectives for Arjuna's being affected, which was explained by Prabhupada himself within the purports of Bhagavad Gita. At one place, Prabhupada says, just see Arjuna, he's affected by the material weakness of the heart, and he's being subdued by metal attachment. Another purport, Prabhupada writes, this is a symptom of a devotee. People who have plundered his wealth, who have disrobed his wife, Arjuna is feeling compassion for them also. So
in
that
the
means
only next verse.
next verse.
He said in the very next verse, he said this.
Yeah.
So
now, what is true? The truth is that we see the pastimes of Krishna and pure devotees in two perspectives. In order to learn lessons from them, we treat them like an ordinary conditioned soul. But in actuality, they are not conditioned souls. They are playing the role of a conditioned soul so that Lord can speak and the pastime can go on. Like for example, Parikshit Maharaj, when he was hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, so then after 5 days, Sukadeva Goswami said that please eat something and drink something. And Parikshit Maharaj said, I am not affected by hunger and thirst. Pibantam tam mukam bhojam chutam harikathamritam. Because I'm hearing the nectarine beverage of Krishna Katha from you with my ears, I am not affected by hunger and thirst. But same Parikshit Maharaj was so badly affected by hunger and thirst that he kept the neck on the, dead snake on the neck of Samyagrisi. How is that possible? So that was personally orchestrated by Krishna so that he can appear as Srimad Bhagavatam via medium of Parikshit Maharaj. So that's why Krishna sometimes puts his devotees into bewilderment and misery in order to bring lessons from the pastimes. So then that cannot be called like an ordinary bewilderment. So Arjuna was a Jivan Mukta, and even his pastimes of bewilderment are his eternal pastimes. He travels in various universes with Krishna, gets bewildered, and Krishna speaks Bhagavad Gita to him. So this is all the Jivan Mukta pastime. Okay, Kirti Damati.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, this in the Jivan Mukta, so there are two type of devotee, was the Nitya Siddha and Sadhana Siddha. So is it that Nitya Siddha is the Jivan Mukta is the same category?
See, Prabhupada writes in level of perfection, there is no difference between Nitya Siddha and Sadhana Siddha. Sadhana Siddha and the Nitya Muktas. The reason is that now both of them are as good as eternal associate of the Lord. One had already achieved it, and one has just achieved it. So it's like in a company, there may be some person who is a new engineer and somebody who may be engineer for last 40 years. But then both of them are referred as in the category of engineers. So although one has just entered, another is already passed out. So similarly, there may be one personality who is descended from the spiritual world and another might have achieved it by his sadhana. But the very fact that both of them have achieved their swarupa, their eternal position in the spiritual world, we put them in the category of Nitya Muktas. In that sense. Or not sorry, Nitya Mukta, I would say Jivan Muktas. Jivan Muktas.
Prabhuji, how would you designate Brahmavads? They're like Brahma Bhuta, but they're not Brahma Samsparsham, like they don't know the Lord yet.
Actually speaking, now we may refer to different definitions. So now, if you ask from some Brahmavadi, they'll say, no, they are Jivan Muktas. They have realized that we are not body, we are soul. But if you ask our Acharya, they'll say, no, they are not Jivan Muktas. Why? Because they have not yet realized their position in the spiritual world. So there are different Vedic definitions given in different scriptures. So in Jnana scriptures, the Jivan Muktas may be referred as Brahmavadis, those who realize I am not this body, including pure devotees, they can also say. But when it comes to specifically Vaishnava scriptures, then Jivan Muktas means one who has realized his eternal position in the spiritual. Okay, so we'll end here.
Prabhuji, just I heard 1 minute. When we were speaking about the Parikshit Maharaj, he was thirsty and although he didn't have any thirst after hearing Krishna Katha, but initially he was very much thirsty. So I heard in one of the lecture that in the Parikshit Maharaj initially, because of the fifth koli, which is gold, he give the place of that fifth koli gold and the position, and then Parikshit Maharaj, the crown was made of gold, so immediately koli entered in this crown. So that's why he got angry and he got thirsty also, and he gave us dead snake.
Actually, that's a very popular view, which is given in Mahabharata, and that is accepted by most of the Indians, because that was shown on the television also. I also saw it when I was very small. But the point is that the perspective of the pastimes given in Srimad Bhagavatam is considered higher than the perspective given in Mahabharata. So from Mahabharata perspective, karma is considered to be the highest authority, and things are given from that perspective. But from Srimad Bhagavatam perspective, devotion is given the highest priority. So from the devotional perspective, it was not the gold, it was Krishna's desire. It was Krishna's desire. Because Krishna wanted to appear as Srimad Bhagavatam, that's why he wanted to make Parikshit Maharaj as the medium. So this is a devotional perspective. And from karma perspective, you may say, okay, it was because Kali had entered in the gold which he was wearing in his crown. And that's why it happened. So same pastimes can have different perspectives. Like for Pandavas also. For Pandavas, it's like Mahabharata shows that they were Arjun, Bhim, Nakul, Sahadev, Panchali. They all had some flaw in their duties. That's why they fell off. And only Yudhishthira Maharaj went to Sargaloka. That's Mahabharata perspective. But from the perspective of Srimad Bhagavatam, they all are eternal associates of the Lord. So that's why we can see the same thing from different perspective to bring out different lessons. So we as Vaishnavas, we accept the perspective of Srimad Bhagavatam from a devotional perspective.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice answer. Thank you.
So the next class to follow up. I'll ask next class.
Yeah.
I have a follow up here.
Prabhuji, I have just a small, not question, just you told, but I missed that point. You told that Lord's dealing with the matter is the Paramatma realization and dealing with the devotee, the Bhagavan realization. And the first one is the Lord's dealing with effulgent realization. That is the first dealing with.
No, it's not dealing, it's realization of Krishna's effulgence. Realization of Krishna's effulgence is called Brahman realization. Okay. Because Brahma Jyoti is ultimately Krishna's effulgence.
Okay.
So when one realizes, when one realizes that I am not body, I am soul, and one realizes the effulgence of Krishna as all in all, the spiritual sky, which is Brahma Jyoti, then that is called Brahman realization.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Superb, Prabhuji. I mean, philosophically, it's so clear the way you've given each definition. I won this class.
So we can end here. Prabhu was saying something, but maybe
No, Prabhuji,
because
I
a long.
think I'll ask a follow-up question the next class, Prabhuji. Next class.
Yeah.
Because,
Yes,
I
yes.
think you have a class also. So thanks so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Bhauji, you have any Bhagavatam, the notes that, is there any notes for that we can, handy notes we can follow?
Actually, I have some notes, but they are like huge notes. So if a devotees want, I can share, but like that, their huge notes are there. So which I made. So maybe we'll discuss about it in the next class because
Okay.
some of the devotees are waiting for.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Vancha kalpadurvasa, kalpa sindhya, patana pavane, vaishnav.
Jnana Pavane Vaishnava.